Monday Night Raw, April 13th, 2015, from London, England. In the main event of the evening, it wasn't a match, it was the Extreme Decision, where both Randy Orton and Seth Rollins had fought earlier in the evening in separate matches, and they had won each of their matches respectively, as Randy Orton had gone against Cesaro, which turned into a handicap match versus the tag team champions Kid and Cesaro. But Randy Orton was able to find a way to come out victorious, so he earned his opportunity to choose a stipulation for the title match between himself and Seth Rollins at Extreme Rules, and he would unveil what his stipulation was during the main event of this Raw as the Extreme Decision. Seth Rollins as well was victorious in a less notable fashion as he beat Kane, as Kane laid down for him, although Kane did choke slam Seth Rollins before draping Seth Rollins' arm over him, giving him the win and enabling him to make his own stipulation as well for the match at Extreme Rules in his defense of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And so Seth Rollins is in the ring with J&J Security. Randy Orton came out there. There's some back and forth, and they both, they unveiled what would be their stipulations, as Randy Orton decided his stipulation would be a steel cage. So it's going to be a steel cage match between Randy Orton and Seth Rollins, and the steel cage is to keep out the Authority, to make sure that Randy Orton can get his hands on Seth Rollins without any interference from Big Show, Kane, or J&J Security, or Triple H and Stephanie for that matter, and who else knows what, who they'll pull out of their pocket at any given moment. I mean, they run shit, right? So Randy Orton chose that stipulation. He chose wisely. It makes sense. That's a good stipulation, and it'll be fun to see a nice steel cage match at Extreme Rules. Extreme Rules being one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. It gets extreme one time a year, and that's at Extreme Rules. So it'll be very fun to see an Extreme Rules steel cage match versus, with Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. So now Seth Rollins had his opportunity to make his stipulation for the match, and that dirty son of a bitch chose no RKO. So there'll be no RKO allowed at the match between Seth Rollins and Randy Orton at Extreme Rules on April 26th on the WWE Network in the steel cage. So Randy Orton, that weapon has been taken out of his arsenal. He still has got that big punt that he does, and it is a steel cage, so I mean, it's not about getting the pin, it's about getting over the cage or getting out the cage, right? So no RKO though, and that's the thing, is he's got to watch out, because if Randy Orton hits him with the RKO, it's going to be a DQ. So Randy Orton's going to have his hands tied at Extreme Rules, and Randy Orton didn't take too kindly to that stipulation, as all hell broke loose, as these two ended up going at it, as well as J&J. He nailed J&J Security with the RKO, and he hit up Seth Rollins as well. He did escape the tombstone. That was the thing. Randy Orton said, hey, if we can't have an RKO at the pay-per-view, let's have it now. And that's when he attacked him, and he let loose the Fury. His apex predator striked as he, the Viper unleashed the Thunder. So Randy Orton just attacking J&J and Seth Rollins, and he's on his way to Extreme Rules, and it's going to be an interesting match. We'll see how that one plays out. With the stipulation of no RKO, that makes me think Seth Rollins is going to end up retaining the title. That's just what I think, because, with you look at the stipulations, like steel cage plays out in Randy Orton's favor. Obviously, that's his stipulation. But then Seth Rollins to counter with the no RKO clause. Now all that has to happen is Seth Rollins just has to some way trick Randy Orton into hitting him with an RKO, and that's what I believe will happen, although we shall see. You never know. It's kind of the obvious thing, so sometimes that's not going to happen. That's what maybe they want you to think what's going to happen, but I figure that even with the steel cage, you're going to see Big Show and probably Kane, even though who knows, because it looks like Kane might be leaving the Authority, but then, Kane, it's like he's always disgruntled with them, but he always goes back to them. So will he actually make that turn? Will Kane go face? But you got J&J also. I think, if J&J comes out there, they climb the cage or somehow get in there, they open the door, whatever, and then Randy Orton starts nailing everybody with, RKOs. He hits the Big Show and, Kane and J&J. And then here comes Seth Rollins up behind him, taps him on the back, and then boom, he nails him with the RKO, DQ'd. Seth Rollins retains the title. That's one of the ways I see that match playing out. Another possibility is maybe when he goes to climb out the cage, Big Show catches him, won't let him hit the floor, and then, something like that. And then somehow, like, the only way for him to, as Big Show has him, then he just, like, RKO's Big Show or something. But I don't know if that would count against him in the match, because will it be if he only RKO's Seth Rollins or if he RKO's anyone, period? We'll see if they clarify that more on Raw and leading up to Extreme Rules. But that's the main event for Raw, April 13th, 2015. Let me know in the comments section below what you think of the Extreme decision, what you think of the stipulations. Let me know if you had your choice of stipulations. What stipulation would you have chosen if you are Randy Orton? What stipulation would you have chosen if you were Seth Rollins? Or if you agree with their stipulations and wouldn't have made any change, you can leave that as well as a comment. Thank you very much for listening. It is greatly appreciated.